I'm Jon Chung, and I work with Power to Change Students, a Christian nonprofit organization, and I'm stationed out at the University of British Columbia. But before I get into that, I thought you ought to get to know me a little bit better. I grew up in Victoria, I was raised out in Kelowna, I lived a couple years in Edmonton, Malaysia, but I currently now reside here in the Greater Vancouver area. I've been married since 2016 to my wonderful wife, Monica. However, she spells it with a K. I love playing tennis. I'm a huge Canucks fan who's lived through the 94 and 2011 Game 7 heartbreaks. Once a Canuck, always a Canuck. Gotta be a fan through the ups and downs. Sometimes people ask me what I do, and the best way I can put it is I'm a missionary on campus. Now, for those of you who don't know, Vancouver is a pretty progressive city with a lot of liberal views. UBC, it's like that and then some. They're definitely all about the causes and all these great things. But at the same time, I feel like they're tolerant towards everything except intolerance, which Christians are often portrayed as. Boy, was I wrong. The university is actually a field that's quite ready for the harvest. I remember my first few weeks, I'd go up to random students and we'd be asking them about things like, is there a God, or are there multiple gods? Is there like inherent evil in man? And we even would go into like who they thought Jesus was or what their purpose in life would be. Surprisingly, they were quite willing to answer those questions and share their opinions and thoughts on things about spirituality and faith. In a research project we partnered with called Renegotiating Faith, it reports that only 37% of young adults had connected with a local church young adult group since high school. That's 63% of young people who may be renegotiating their faith for themselves in their adulthood. It just shows you the importance of a healthy Christian community, not just Sundays or a midweek small group, but where they spend the majority of time, which is often on a campus. I took some time to ask some of the students that have been a part of our club, how has this impacted their lives? How has it affected their faith? And what even brought them in the first place?
A big part is the people there, the kind of staff that I've journeyed with. Of course, John has been a big one who I've been journeying with as well.
Well, I think P2C has been such a welcoming community that lives through, demonstrates, and works through God's love.
Power to Change has taught me how to escape my comfort zone.
The drive and push to do evangelism.
Meet other Christians.
To read the Bible, to learn scripture, to really know my faith from a deeper understanding.
It really gave me a strong community.
As well as share my faith with my non-Christian friends.
And just be able to share really openly about everything.
And also about what it means to be someone who disciples others.
One thing that drew me into this ministry was their emphasis on evangelism. Here's what some of our students think about it.
Our role here on earth is to preach the gospel, to make his name known among the nations.
It depends on who you're with. If you are with someone who is wanting to know more about Jesus, then definitely it's a great time to share. Thanks to Power to Change, I've had those situations, for example, like in Peru. We did talk to people who are kind of wanting to know more about Jesus, or were just curious in general, and that's kind of like, I guess, the most basic form of evangelism.
In essence, evangelism is stepping out of your comfort zone, right? So entering into someone else's context and bringing the gospel to them because they don't know the gospel.
But for me, kind of what it's looked like from my reach has just been trying to reach my friends, my non-believer friends.
A big part about evangelism is just talking about with them, especially when it gets to those kind of deeper topics, and kind of bringing in a Christian perspective on it.
Unlike a lot of Power to Change members, I actually didn't get to or have never been on like a global missions trip before where I get to travel to an unreached, people group and like spread the gospel or whatever. But I guess to me in my life, more personally, it's just like your day-to-day, how you live out your life, how you live out your faith, and just living out your testimony to not only your loved ones, the people within your close circles, but also just to your normal school friends or even just strangers and your coworkers that you don't really normally talk about personal things with. But just simply, I think people observing how you interact with them and how you live your life, it naturally opens up doors to deeper conversations like spreading the gospel and stuff. So.
But I think all in all, it's been so enjoyable seeing some of my friends and also seeing many people come to faith actually and put their trust in Jesus and to receive salvation. That's been the greatest joy of evangelism.
As Jesus tells us in Matthew 28 in the Great Commission, he calls us to go and make disciples. He's not asking us to just get people to raise their hand at an altar call or say some prayer and then they're saved, but he's called us to go and make disciples. Here's Wanhu and some other students sharing about their experience with discipleship.
I guess for me, what discipleship means is just being able to journey with other students who may be in a similar boat as me, but I can maybe give a little bit more advice to
motivate them and to also teach them and instruct them how to be godly.
However, this is, I think, in a two-way street instead of a one-way street.
It's not so much trying to teach them everything, but being open to what they're going through, what they're learning.
And to live and guide one another in a Christ-centered life.
Being able to share my walk with God with other people and just take that journey together, whatever that may look like.
Just showing me what it means to be a godly woman and to be a woman who desires to honor and to know God more intimately and better.
Just simply walking with someone.
Not just give me like shallow life advice that can come from anyone, but really share a bond, like a spiritual bond with somebody.
We're all called to make disciples, not just pastors and ministers. For me, I have a personal mission of seeing people find their passions, find their dreams, find their callings. And once they've found those things, I want to equip them, empower them, encourage them in that. At Power to Change, I get to do that. Not everyone's called into full-time ministry, but we are all called into seeing His kingdom come and His will be done. This is what it kind of looks like for some of our students.
I think a big part of it is just being a Christian in the workplace. They've been quite surprised that I have such an interest in science because I'm a Christian.
No matter what industry I end up in, whether it be inside tech or in education, I really hope that I end up in a place where I can make an impact on people and just change their lives for the better and be able to be that support for them, share His love with other people, to do something like that. And I'm really excited.
In a way that I hope that God will place me in a position to help immigrants in their journey to a new place, to a new home, to a new life.
Giving people who may not meet Christians too often, giving them a chance to experience the different flavors of Christians that are out there.
That I may be someone that is a witness for God, is a vessel towards God, even in a small part of their new journey to their new life.
I think God will use me, or maybe I know God will use me in the ministry field, because during one of the mission trips I went with Power to Change, that's when I had a clear calling from God to become a pastor after I graduate. So what I'm going to do afterwards, I graduate, is to enter seminary and to begin my journey as a pastor, as a shepherd of God's flock.
I do hope that God would just use me to raise godly children, children who will desire the Lord and also a desire to grow in their faith and also to love the Lord with their whole heart and strength and soul, and also in that sense learning how to love others around them as well because of the gospel and stuff. So
with that, I invite you to prayerfully consider joining me in the work that I get to be a part of. You can do that by becoming a financial partner by clicking on the link below. Or you can sign up for our newsletter to find out all the things that are happening and become a partner in prayer. If there are others who you know who might be interested in this ministry or have a huge heart for young people, share this video with them. God bless, and may God use us for His glory. Please keep me in prayer as I head back into the mission field. Peace out.